All right. Just by chance, I ended up putting the tap water that I distilled in the Philippines in an hombre bottle of tequila, an empty hombre bottle of tequila, by the way. And the results are not good. I gotta tell you, I was discussing what I discovered because I actually distill my water because of an infection I have on my foot and leg. And the tap water, I noticed when I got back, when I went to New York, the tap water or the distilled water I drank in New York, the wound healed up 100%. As soon as I got back to the Philippines, I cut out the salt, I cut out the MSG, I cut out just about every possible factor as to why my infection came back from being 100% healed. I narrowed it down to the water. So 6 weeks after I got back in May, I got my water distiller out. It came in a box, in some cargo boxes, and I put this tap. I put the water from the filtered bottles, so the reverse osmosis filtered bottles. I put that in the water distiller, and I got a residue on the bottom of the distiller, a white powdery residue like this. Now that was from the reverse osmosis. So I talked about this in my live stream, and Mercury 3 sent me $35 in Super Chat to get this tested. So it takes 5.5 hours to distill 1 gallon of water here. And the next bottle I tested, it didn't happen. And I did it several more times. And it didn't happen from the filtered water. So I do believe that the reverse osmosis filtered water process just wasn't working that day, and they just sent us tap water because it was horrible. So what I did 3 days ago is I put a load of straight tap water coming out of the faucet, let's say, in the distiller, and then I let it distill. And what I got from 1 gallon of tap water is this ring of white powdery substance. Now, I'm going to shake it up in a few minutes and show you, but it's consistent around the entire bottle. So this is the remnants of 1 gallon of water, this white, it looks like talcum powder. It acts like talcum powder in water. It's heavier than water, so it settles on the bottom. Now, when I go like this, it should fall down to one side, and you should see a cloud. Okay, there it is, falling down to the bottom corner. And I'm going to shake it a little bit, and you're going to see that this product is heavier than water, but it's a strange consistency. Now I'm going to tell you how long I've been distilling water. Since 1995, I've drinking pretty much only distilled water. So now you can see, I'm going to tap this. Now you can see how much powder has accumulated in the bottom of this bottle. And this is, again, from 1 gallon of water that comes out of the faucet here. So I went out on a limb and I put a little bit in a shot glass, just maybe a 20th of an ounce, and put it in my mouth when it was in this solution from this bottle. And I got to tell you, I couldn't drink it. I had to spit it right out. It was, I don't know what it was. I never tasted anything like that. Now, I've been distilling water since 1995, so that we're 24 years. I have never seen a white powdery substance in water in America, and I never saw it in the Philippines because I just got my water distiller. So whatever this stuff is, I'm going to bring it to a laboratory this week, and utilize the money that Mercury 3 sent me for the test. If I get to the laboratory this week, I'm going to reduce it down to maybe a smaller amount. But this stuff can't be good for you because, like I said, if in the amount of water that's in this bottle, when it had settled, I siphoned off about a 20th of an ounce and put it in my mouth, and it was just gag city. Couldn't drink it. It was like putting something in your body that doesn't belong there. All right, so I'm going to go open up my tablet, and if somebody has a question about this, where I got the water from, or any question you want about water distillation, I have many videos up. I used to have a video up on YouTube that got a lot of views every day. And YouTube, because I told you the truth about what's in the drinking water in America, this video goes back to 2012. All of a sudden, the views dropped off to 0 views. So, and on my first channel, that same video would get 1,000 or 2,000 views a month. So now, in a month, it gets 0 views. They don't want you to know. They do not want you to know what's in the foods you eat or the drinking water. I can't even imagine what that crap is. And there's no way anybody's going to tell me that that's organic or an organic product, like, something that comes up out of the ground. It might be something that's in the ground, but it's certainly not anything natural that a human being could consume. It's just disgusting, to say the least. So I need to get to this video live here. Well, at least I got a good shot. Dennis Adam. Hello, Dennis Adam. Welcome to the machine. All right. Well, I can see that everybody, this is the month of August in America and the Philippines. And in August in America, I know that people are getting ready to send their children back to school around this time. School starts in 2 weeks. They're having barbecues. They're having parties up the yin yang. So the view counts on my videos again went down this month. But the month of August has always been the slowest month ever. In addition to me doing a live stream a few days ago as to what's in the food and how the food has affected the wound on my foot and my legs. Village People Philippines, I just went to their channel, and they are doing a video about GMO products. And I find it interesting that the woman who runs that channel could find someone knowledgeable about Monsanto and GMOs, and not only knowledgeable about it, but against the whole process of the GMO industry. And she was trying to make people aware of what's in the chemicals that they're using for fertilizers in the ground. So kudos to Village People Philippines for at least trying to spread the word. Now, I don't speak the language, and I did go to the farmer's market about a week and a half ago, and these people at the farmer's market, I don't mean to put the Philippines people down, but I don't think they know what they're buying. When I mentioned GMO to Peter, who I've known for 6.5 years now, when I mentioned the term GMO, and I said, do you think they're putting GMOs in your foods? And he just smiled. And like, he didn't answer the question. So I said, do you know what GMOs are? And he went, yeah. But I said, so are these foods, are they adding GMOs to the foods? And he just smiled. So I don't know if he understood what I said, because he's not. very articulate in English. I don't even know if he knows what GMOs are, but he sells a lot of produce. Now, I don't buy from him anymore because his prices are 20% higher than everybody else's. So I walk to the back, and I don't know I think he's half Chinese and half Filipino man and woman team in the back that sell produce. And I asked them about GMOs, and they just smiled and said, yeah. I said, do you think that the GMO is in the products that you're selling? And they gave me a big smile and said, yeah, but they didn't understand what I asked them. So these people don't even understand. I said, I talked about it being in the fertilizer, and they smiled and said, yeah. They were just smiling and yesing me. They're yesing me to death because they are selling foods and they don't know how the foods have been fertilized or what's in the foods, because it used to be I could eat chicken, poultry, what we call manuk. Manuk is chicken. And my legs and ankles didn't swell up. Well, now I narrowed it down to rotisserie chickens. They were putting the MSG type flavorings inside the chicken, mixed in with some lemongrass. They take some of these places rotisserie 60 chickens at a time, and they just make a 5-gallon pot of lemongrass and what they call seasoning that comes in these little packages, about 3x3 packages, and it says, Baboy Manuk seasoning, but all that's in the package is MSG. So initially, when I would eat fried chicken, which didn't have the same flavoring in it, this is going back a couple years, my feet didn't swell up. But when I ate the rotisserie chicken, it did. So even though I haven't had a rotisserie chicken in 4 months. Daisy likes those, but I don't, because they make my feet swell up instantly. This isn't something that happens over the course of 3 hours. I'll sit down and eat barbecued roasted chicken, and my feet will swell up before I'm done eating. So what does it take, 12 minutes to eat the average meal? So within 12 minutes, my ankles will go from 11.5 inches to 13 and plus inches. And so that I knew was in the rotisserie chicken. So I stopped that. And then I went to plain chicken, semi-frozen chicken, and I tried that, and nothing changed. Well, yeah, something changed. My ankles swelled up less, depending on how much I ate. So if I ate an entire chicken breast, which is about a half a pound, a little bit less than half a pound, my ankles would swell up the same as the rotisserie chicken. If I just have a few mouthfuls of it, it won't affect them so much. So it's not just the MSG additives to the foods, it's also what they're putting in the feed of the chicken, what they feed the chickens, because here a chicken is grown for 39 days. That's how all rotisserie chickens that come in the semi-frozen, packed in crushed ice, are grown for 39 days. That's my understanding. Maybe it's 40 days, but I was told by a chicken purveyor who sold 30,000 chickens a month that her chickens are processed on the 39th day. So it's either in the food that they're feeding the chicken, or in this case, as you just saw, in the water. Now it's in the water. There's no doubt that it's in the water. I mean, there's that white product. It looks like talcum powder in the bottom. So it's whatever this stuff is, it might be throughout the Philippines, but it's not natural. It's not a natural. I wouldn't even venture to take a little powdery sample out of there, because I got to tell you, I have a pretty good understanding of powder. Okay. When I used to do chemistry testing in high school, it doesn't take a lot to change, a lot of chemicals to change or to affect you. In other words, well, just take a look at a small pill, a little bit of aspirin. In that aspirin, 97% of that is just some neutral product. Only a very small percentage of what's in the aspirin itself is any kind of a chemical. I had a family member that used to do water testing for companies that made medicine. And he explained to me that there are certain types of medicine that is made that they'll process 100, 200,000 gallons of solution. You know, they'll mix in different chemicals to form different substances, and they'll process 200,000 gallons of water or solution, and it'll come down to about a quarter of a pound of what they really want at the end. And that's why some of the chemicals or medicines are so expensive. And they have them in these huge vats, and they heat them up, and they eventually get the water and other solutions out, and they put them through centrifugal force machines. But whatever it is, you know, you get 100,000 gallons of product, and you only end up with a half a pound of what you wanted from the beginning. That stuff is pretty powerful. So I don't know what this stuff is in the bottom. If anybody knows and they want to put it in the comments section, to me it looks like talcum powder, but it's in the tap water. So let me go to my comments and see if anybody has an idea. Okay, Dennis says the white sediment may be calcium and magnesium, containing minerals that are found in tap water. The minerals build up on pans and also clog the coffee makers. Well, yeah, okay. All right. I can go along with that because I remember they used to have big giant water filters. You put salt in them. But why is calcium, let's just say calcium and magnesium, why is that affecting my feet to swell up 2 inches in 10 minutes? And after I drank the tap water a few weeks ago, that's what happened. So is calcium poison? Is it magnesium poison to the human body? When you take magnesium vitamins, you take calcium supplements. So it could be that, and when the tests come back, when I bring it to the lab, we'll know. Oh yeah, Richard, I know all about the Monsanto products. I used to spray Monsanto. When I had the tree service business, I had just a very few clients, like three clients at maximum, but 2 for long term and 1 just for a short while, and they would want me to spray their property. So I went out and bought the 3M filter, chemical filters. I had to charge them $165 to spray their yards because, first of all, the chemical was expensive, but secondly, I would get sick as a dog. It would go in through whatever it touched on my skin, and like I would have the full face mask on, and it would just touch around the neck. I didn't wear paper suits, but I wore long sleeve shirts and gloves, but it went right through that. And then after I took the mask off for like 6 to 12 hours, I would smell the chemical in my lungs. So it accumulated in my lungs. And after that, I would go to sleep, and for 3 days, I would be sick. But it was $165 for 3 clients, so it was almost $500 for a day. I would make the spraying all happen on one day, whatever day that was. I call up each person and say it's time to spray. And if they said, yeah, I would do all three. But that stuff would make me sick for 3 days. Beef top. I can't see. Beef it up. I eat many chicken. This is interesting. I eat many chicken in the Philippines and also get swollen feet. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Beef it up. It doesn't happen to everybody. It happens to me, and apparently it might be happening to you as well. But listen, when I tell you my feet swell up, beef it up, my feet swell up to where it looks like two footballs are meeting each other at midway. That's what my feet, you cannot recognize my feet. There is no recognition of veins or bones. There's no ability to see the ankle bone. There's no ability to see any muscles in the legs themselves. It's just swollen from the calf down. And the calf swell up a little bit as well, probably only an inch, but it turns it into something that if you were to say, what are those? You could say, yeah, I see the toes, they're feet. But if you looked at them from your perspective, knowing what your feet should look like, you would say there's something wrong here. When I went to New York, I ate every food from the store, off the shelf, every restaurant that I went to. I did not drink the water. I drank distilled water. But my feet went from, they're swelled up right now, and I haven't had any salt or nothing with GMO in it. I'm distilling the water. They're still swelled up to where you would look at my feet and say something's wrong there. But if I have the slightest bit of chicken, my feet are going to swell up. It's not a small amount. It's 1.5 inches plus in less than 10 minutes. And when you're walking, it feels like someone wrapped ace bandages around your feet because it's so tight. The skin is tight. It swells up to the point where it feels like the skin is going to burst open. It's not a small effect. It's a big effect. Slim Jim, I saw you over on Village People Philippines making a great comment about GMOs. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know. I'm looking for something to clean my glasses with. Yeah, Slim Jim knows about this stuff. Apparently Slim Jim has a vast knowledge of many topics. So he was over on Village People Philippines about 45 minutes ago commenting on how Monsanto is totally destroying the food of the world. It's not the example that Slim Jim gave you. Let me explain to you something about Monsanto. Okay. And Slim Jim knows this is true. So I'm going to explain to you how this works, how GMOs work. You want a higher yielding crop. So you buy seeds from Monsanto. And they're one season, they grow for one season. And you buy a license to use those seeds. Now you have a farm, and let's just say each farm is 100 square feet. It's not, but let's say it is. So you put these seeds down in your farm. Now, you have a license to grow those foods in that 100 square foot plot. But now next door to you, they have an organic farm. Well, when you're throwing the seeds down, or the dispersing unit, could be an airplane, could be a seed disperser, when you're throwing those seeds down, some of them go on your neighbor's property and contaminate his organic farm. When you go to court, the organic farmer can't sell his food as organic. So Slim Jim was looking for other examples. I can give you other examples. In America, you're talking about hectares of land, thousands of square acres are sprayed from the plane with the seeds for certain things like alfalfa or hay or whatever they drop from the plane. Now, some of that's going to get blown over to the other property by the wind, but a lot of it is going to get eaten by birds, and then it's going to be processed through the bird's digestive system and then discarded on the neighbor's property. Monsanto can actually go in to anybody's property and take samples of the products that are growing on the neighbor's property. And if they find chemically that the neighbor who has an organic farm has a plant, even just a small, not even a percentage, 1 percentage point of or GMO products, Monsanto can sue that person because they didn't buy the license to use their product, even though it's 100% proven that wind and birds and animals that eat the seeds move them to another place, and then it ends up on an organic farm. There is no fighting Monsanto in the court system. They have never lost the case. Never, to my knowledge. So, Slim Jim, that answers your question. That's been going on in America since the early 1990s. And people that have 100,000 acres of land are losing their farms because, in addition to Monsanto suing them for the fees for the license, the crop that if you have 100,000 acres of land and the crop has half of a percentage point of scattered GMO related seeds, the crop has to be harvested and burned. You cannot sell that because Monsanto won't give you the license to sell their product, so the crop has to be destroyed. That's the law in America. Sounds crazy. That's the truth. So Slim Jim was looking for other results on Monsanto court cases, and that's the results. So you have 100,000. Now there's it's even more problematic because how did the farm get infected with the GMO seeds? Well, what is to stop Monsanto from taking a plane and flying it high above the sky where you don't even hear it at night and just dropping seed? 100,000 acre farm, 10,000 acre farm, 20,000 acre farm. They're just going to drop the seeds from on high and contaminate the crop. And then they know the crop is contaminated. Then they come in and test the crop, find out it has GMO products in it, and then they sue the farmer right away. It goes through the court in a matter of days. They sue the farmer for using their product, and the farmer has to harvest that crop and burn it. Can't sell it. Monsanto refuses to let them sell the crop because it's their product and they didn't buy the license in advance. So there are tens of thousands of farms in America that went out of business because they lost just a single crop or 2 years in a row because the soil is contaminated. And they'll do it yearly. So they'll spray the first farm and the second farm and the third farm and the fourth farm. And then the fifth, sixth, and seventh are not sprayed. And at night they come along and drop seeds. And there you go. The crop is now worthless and it has to be burned. And that's what they're doing. That's why what they want in America is they just want 5 or 6 big major farming companies to make all the foods, and all the foods will be GMO. And GMO is not good for the human genome. I don't want to get into the chemical structure of the GMO, but it's like that product that they sprayed on the Gulf of Mexico, Core Exit, Corexit. It's in the name, Core Exit, what it does. It killed all the fish in the Gulf of Mexico where they sprayed the whales, the sea, whatever animals were traversing through this Core Exit, they all died. Why? Because Core Exit says it what it is in the name of the product. C-O-R, Core, C-O-R-E, Core Exit. So you have the core, the central portion, exit. And what it did, is it permeates the outside layer of, let's say, it's like an egg sac. It permeates the outside layer of the egg sac and goes in and scrambles the genome of whatever it is in the fish. Could be the fish's liver, could be the heart, could be the eyes, could be the whole fish. But it killed everything. And they said, we don't know what's happening. We don't know why the fish are dying. And then they made up these stories. I got to tell you, very rarely would I ever go look for somebody to talk to them, but I did want to talk to Anderson Cooper. He was sitting there saying that they're only spraying a few thousand gallons of core exit over the beaches and over the oil spills. Turns out they sprayed over 40 million gallons at the point that he said they only sprayed a few thousand. Turns out that they were spraying over people's houses at night that were half a mile inland, and people in that area, not 100, not 500, not 1,000, but over 10,000 people got deathly sick, and several thousand died from the core exit. And pathologists, zero came up to the conclusion that it was because of core exit. They were all bought and paid for. And there's no difference with Monsanto spraying this garbage on people's crops and or these lawsuits that Monsanto wins every time. I don't think anybody in America ever won a lawsuit against Monsanto. All right, so let me go back here. I see it. Wow, Richard Einstein. Okay, Philippine Scenes super chatting me. Hello, Paul. Hope you two are doing great today. My own buntag for some Wilkins too big po. Salamat po, Philippine Scenes. Thank you. I hope you enjoy my live stream. YouTube will censor the living essence out of this live stream because you have no idea. Okay, I put up, just to get off topic, I am the second most highly censored channel on YouTube, Bo Knows Entertainment, who happens to be one of the few people I've ever met who's a blogger. He has about the same amount of subscribers. I think he has 23,000. He'll get 40 views on his videos because he exposes fraud in the court systems. Me, I exposed the politicians, and I exposed chemicals that they're using to destroy the human genome. And I tell you the truth about politics. I tell you the truth about, if I say the words, the video will get taken down. I can't, but let's just say it has to do with the moon and the stories they tell you about the moon, which can't possibly be true, and Mars and Saturn and all those other hypothetical places that they go to. So I tell you the truth, and I tell you that the earth is like this, baby. It's like this. Now, I made a kind of a comedy video out of the flat plane that we live on, and it was censored so bad. It was like I got 0 views on it today and yesterday. It's only 2 days old, where I should have gotten, on a comedic level, I should have got several thousand views with 19,000 subscribers, but they unclicked the bell button on 19,000 of my subscribers. So this video is going to reduce my views even further because you don't understand how their algorithms work. It picks up every word you say. It's like when you use the Google app where you talk into your phone and the words appear on the screen. Well, YouTube has had that app. Now, I bought that app called Dragon Naturally Speaking back in 2001. They had it before that. Voice recognition has been perfected to the T since long before the year 2000. The technology existed for the government, but it didn't exist in the private sector. Then Dragon came out, and now Dragon can listen to your voice and hear every inflection of your voice. It doesn't even make mistakes once it learns who you are. So Google's algorithm also does the same thing. Now it has facial recognition in the algorithm, so it'll tell Google where you are based on where your IP address is, but it goes even further than that. Not only does it have facial recognition, but if I was to try to fake it out, used to be I could put a piece of cardboard up on the screen with a word on the cardboard and I wouldn't say the word. Well, that's gone. Those days are gone. The artificial intelligence computers reads the words on the cardboard. So you can't beat the system, and it gets worse every day. I have 19,000 subscribers and my videos get about 100 views. So if I take a video called CIA, NASA, and the Army engineers all agree that the Earth is not round, and they did testing of a non-rotating flat Earth. Okay, the CIA, NASA, and the Army Corps of Engineers, and they did testing as recently as 2007. NASA has been doing testing. I have the video up on the screen. I'll give you the name of the video if you want to see fraud if you want to see fraud. Okay, let's see. United States Incorporated. Let's try this one.
You show your true.
No. Okay, so there's a video. Well, there's a video by Eric Dubay called "The United States Incorporated," and that will tell you. In that video, it happens to concur with my discovery that the Vatican controls the world. Period. The world. The Vatican controls, not just the United States, but I limited it to the United States because I had proof of that. So let's see if I can find that other video. Well, I may have clicked it off. I may have changed. I don't have it. So anyway, Philippine scenes, thank you. Because considering, Mercury is here. Welcome to the machine, Mercury. I got that soil. I got that water sample. Here's the water sample, Mercury. I'm going to bring this. Well, the next time I go to the city, I'm going to bring, this is the product, the white powdery stuff that I found in the tap water. Now, it wasn't in the bottled water. I did do two trips with the bottled water, and it just made distilled water. But this is the tap water. So whatever process they use to filter out the bottled water, which is called reverse osmosis, it is filtering out this white powder. But 3 weeks ago, the white powder was in the filtered water. So I guess that day their filter wasn't working well. Thomas Group. My niece, who's 7 years old, can't eat the chicken in the Philippines because she started growing breasts. This is no joke. Well, that is hormone, and those are the hormones that are added to the chicken. That's another thing besides the chemicals in the soil. They're adding hormones to the feed of the chicken. So I doubt I'm allergic to the hormones, but I'm certainly allergic to some. But why do you think, Thomas Group, you brought up a good point. I don't have much time. I have to do something at 11 o'clock, but you brought up a good point, Thomas Group, and I'm going to take 2 or 3 minutes to talk about that. Since the time of the supposed birth of Jesus Christ in the year 1, okay, the average height of a human being, man, has gone up about 6 inches. So in other words, let's just say the average man in the year 0 was 5'2". Just take that as an arbitrary number. So from the year 0 to the 1950s, or actually the 1960s, the average height of the average man went up to 5'8". So there was a 6-inch on average growth. Now, more or less, that stayed the same. So for 1,960 years, it stayed the same. Since the 1960s, where they've been putting hormones in only, not all places, but in farms and in foods, in children that are like, when from the time they're born, they start eating these GMO and hormone added foods. The average height of the average man has gone up 4 inches, and where there is heavily infiltrated hormone therapy in the foods, the average height has gone up 8 inches. See, Will Chamberlain, who I used to see on the bus every day, I don't know how tall he was, but he was like a really tall basketball player. I used to see him every morning on the Q60. Very friendly man. He was very tall. He was like, considered an extremely tall person. I went to Alona Beach. I took a bicycle ride. Actually, I did a little bit more than Alona Beach. I did a 25-kilometer bicycle ride the other day, and I ended up at Alona Beach to get an ice cream. And I saw people that were like 6'6", 6'7", multiple people, young people in their maybe early 20s. When I went to high school, I knew exactly who I was going to high school with. The tallest man in my high school was Santos Domingo, and I knew he was the tallest person in the high school, and he was only 6'2", and I knew he was because him and I were co-captains on the wrestling team, and me and him used to fight every day. And he was in the 189-pound wrestling class, and I was in the 157 in my senior year, but we still fought for practice because he could beat me every time, but he would have to struggle even at that. So, but he was the tallest person. I see young people nowadays, Filipino, the average height was 5'3" until like 20 years ago, and now I see 5'11", 6'2" Filipino women on the bus, because their families apparently have more money and can buy more meat, and more meat has more hormones, and more hormones makes them grow bigger, and some of them are huge. I'm not just talking about tall, I'm talking about big bone, big breasts, big shoulders, big hands, big feet. These are women that are over 6 feet, Filipino women. And they look like women. I mean, they don't look any different than a smaller girl, but they overtower the average Filipino. So for that fella saying his 7-year-old niece was growing, or daughter was growing breasts, that's true. It's from the hormones. The crap they're putting in the foods nowadays is making the cows grow 20 or 30% bigger, the chickens, the hogs, all the industrial produce and products, meat products, they're all having these hormones added to the food. Now, with me, I missed out. I was born in 1955. But had I been born in 1965, I might be over 6 foot tall, because the average height in America, in a wealthy community where you eat a lot of meat, has gone up between a little over 4 inches in just the last 50 years, where it didn't change 6 inches in 1960 years. So they're putting stuff in the food. They're just not telling you about it. Good comment. Really good comment, Thomas Grube. Really good comment. Okay, so Dennis Adams is pretty convinced it's calcium and magnesium because he boils. Yeah, I've seen that white powder when you boil off a pot of water, but I don't know what it is here. Why? Well, could be the same product. We're going to find out in a few weeks. Slim Jim, you got a good point when it comes to that aspect of the community. Yep. Dennis Adams, it may not be the white sediment that is causing your swelling, but something else that is in the water. Very likely, if what you say it's calcium and magnesium. And we're going to find out because the test that I have them run at the hospital is going to be a complete Mercury 3 paid, did a $35 super chat to have the test done. So it's going to find out whatever's in the water. Good thought there. Slim Jim has his idea about Monsanto, and I agree. All right, so Johnny Feathers, sounds like an Indian name, always found dead animals and coyotes, birds, etc. in the cornfield the day after they sprayed. What? These animals can't take that kind of chemical poisoning. And you know, I like Wes from One Lonely Farmer. And I actually met Wes from One Lonely Farmer. If you're not subscribed to his channel and you want to watch a man really work hard, really smart, very, very good when it comes to machining and welding and fixing farm equipment. And I met Wes in person. He's a huge man, okay? He's like built like me, but not as big of a belly. But he's he's at least 6 feet, maybe 6 foot 1 inch. He's a huge man. Him and I picked up a 200-pound drill press, and we neither one of us had any trouble with it, but he could do it with one hand, going up the steps backwards, and I could not do that. And I had 2 hands on the other end, and I was going up the steps forward. But he works with these chemicals. And I tried to tell him, he says, I wear a filter when he sprays the fields. He sprays tens of thousands of acres of fields. I don't know how the man, his mental acuity is sharp as a tack. Everybody that I met, his entire family, his son Joseph, his wife Teresa, their son William, his son William, they're all sharp people. So the chemical hasn't affected him yet. But what I will tell you about chemicals that they spray, there was a guy I met. I was about 19 years old. I don't know why I was in Brooklyn. I was doing a job. I don't remember what the job was. And whatever the job was, this guy came on the job, a very handsome, big, tall Italian fellow, and he was spraying, and I was doing carpentry. So he was spraying for bugs, and we talked. I don't know what we talked about, but it was just interesting. I never saw a commercial bug spray in person before. And we talked, and I remember at that time, I remembered what the conversation was about, probably blah, blah, blah. And I didn't see him for about 5 years because I did a lot of work in Brooklyn. And apparently, whoever was recommending me for jobs was in his community, and that's where I was working. And I saw him about 5 years later, and he stuttered like you wouldn't be. He was talking. He was talking slow and stuttering. He was still smart, but he couldn't formulate sentences quick like he was 5 years before that. And that's from the bug spray. And what does bug spray do to cockroaches and other creepy crawling insects? It slows them down. What does rat poison do to rats? You'll see a rat scamper across the floor, or a mouse. I mean, run, like gone, here today, gone tomorrow. And you give it a couple of doses of that, whatever is in the poison, which is actually the stuff they put in water. The name of that product is, I forget the name of it. I should know. And the product, 97, 98%, 99% of rat poison is just cereal. The other 1% is fluoride. Fluoride. It's a derivative of fluoride. Poison, but still the same. And after they give it a couple of doses of fluoride, the same rat, because the rat's in your house, you know it's just one rat, the same rat will walk across the floor and fall down. It gets slower and slower every day, till eventually you can throw a box over it and get it outside and throw it in the canal. But that's what it does, and that's what that bug spray did to this really sharp young man. I was like 18, he might have been about 23, 24. And I saw him for 15 years afterwards, but by the time 10 years was up, there was nothing to talk about. He was basically a walking, talking vegetable. But I did see his house. He made a lot of money. He made a lot of money spraying bugs. Hello, Sasha. Welcome to the machine. Did you get my email that your friend in the Better Business Bureau wasn't able to help me? Yeah, Jimmy Gable. Since I abused, and I did abuse them, since I abused most of the people in the hate crew, I'm getting 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 thumbs down, which in my whole life I never got more than 6 or 7. Yeah, they're not going to give you, they're not going to give me a thumbs up, Mr. Jimmy Gable. But thanks for the thought. So I don't even check that. What do we have? 14 thumbs up? Yeah. Well, thanks for those 14. I'll go to when the video uploads, I will go to my video manager and I'll see if I have 14, 16 thumbs up now. If I have 6, I'll have 13, 14 thumbs down. It's the same animals in the hate crew that are coming to my channel, and I'm not going to talk about that. But it's an amazing. It's what I find amazing about the thumbs down is that they're coming from people who I told the truth about, and I outed on YouTube for being liars and being deceptive, and to be basically just freaking lowlifes. Okay, and what do they do? They stopped talking. Well, I explained to them they needed to stop talking about me, And what did they? So now what do? They give me a thumbs down. These are 50, 45, 35, 40, 50, 60-year-old men. They come to my channel. They give me a thumbs down. Let's just be happy that they leave me out of the conversation. That's the best. Okay, because I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy they think I am. I'm really not. I laugh about a lot of stuff, but you can't abuse me. You can't abuse me when you're wrong and think I'm going to cower down because there's 25 of you pushing the thumbs down button. That's just one possibility of a mistake that you might make. Anyway, not to get trapped in the chismes, so to speak. We're moving on. All right, so Philippines scene, the truth is somewhere in the middle most times. Right, Diba? Well, that could be. We're going to find out what's in the water. I don't know, and we're going to find out what's in... Philippine scenes, you bring up a good point. Where is the truth? You're not going to get the truth. These people run the world. This GMO seed poisoning is not... Well, I thought it was only in America when I lived in America, and I've been making videos since 2010. Because all you heard about was Monsanto fighting farmers in America. But before I left America, there were many videos about farmers fighting Monsanto in different countries. And for me to name them, I would be wrong. I don't remember which countries they were. But now that I'm in the Philippines, I see it happening here. So it's a worldwide problem. and they want to reduce the amount of companies that produce edible products to 5 or 6 companies. Just same way they have the news and television industry reduced to 5 or 6 corporations. Okay, Sir Michael, we don't see that video. Can you post the link for it? I have 8 minutes. Warren, please, Warren, turn on your Skype. Mr. Willis. Okay, so Philippine scenes. I'm sure you see Village People's video on GMOs. Let me, if you were talking about, I'm going to go to my videos playlist, and I don't remember the name of the video. I haven't seen it in a very long time. What was the name of that video that I did? Distilled. Let's just try distilled. 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 WATER. Let's just try the putting in distilled water in my search engine, and I'll see if that pops up. All right. So, all right, we are. Oh yeah. Okay. Here. All right. Here. Let me show you now. I'm going to tell you something. This is actual horrible footage of what drinking the tap water in Florida did to me in 1995. I took pictures and I did some videos. I had a video camera. I wasn't on YouTube at the time. So the name of the video, okay, you got a pencil and I can't put it into the, I guess I could put it here. All right, I'll put it here. Okay, so the name of the video, all capitals, fluoride, induced, INDUCED. All right, the name of the video is fluoride induced belly, BELLY, fluoride induced belly button, like a belly button, BUTTON, and the last name is horror, HORROR. Okay, fluoride, and I'm going to I posted this in the chat window. Okay, so you Google that. Okay, and you know what it looks like? Let me tell you something. What it looks like from this video playlist, it looks like they took my distilled water videos down. I'll have to look for that later and that out. Yeah, tap water. I know how to find it. If it's drinking tap water, I remember the name, tap water, TAPWATER, tap water. If it doesn't show up, I remember it said the name of the video was drinking tap water. Okay. All right. Has 82,000 views. Okay, so there was another one that said tap water. Okay. Drinking tap water and the Zionist zoo bastards rat poison almost killed me. Now, on my first channel, drinking tap water and the Zionist zoo bastards rat poison almost killed me. And that was posted in 2011, but That was from my first channel. On my first channel, that one had 100,000 views in just a few months. But the one that has a more benign name is how water distillers remove 99% of all fluoride. I don't want to type that out. Just get a pencil and paper or type it out on your own computer, because that one has 82,000 views. So that one, which I haven't seen in years, that one shows you what was in the bottom of the water distiller after just one day. One water distillation, 1 gallon. It's pretty disgusting. Here's the name of the video, how water distillers remove 99%, then use the percentage key, of all fluoride. Okay, so I have to go. I have to, in 90 seconds, I'm going to end this live stream. Please, Warren, turn on your Skype if that's possible. Mr. Will, yeah, I'm in North. Watch him lay down, look like cornrows, trails, and stripes. Okay, I don't mean to bypass your comments, but I have to speak with somebody at 11 o'clock. Filipinos eat huge amounts of chicken. 30 years ago, they were 5'3", and now are more muscular than me. That's right. That's the truth. Slim Jim, I'm 5'10", he said. Okay, that's the truth. Those GMOs, those hormones in the foods. Slim Jim says, I was 5'10" and was tall for an Aussie. My nephew are Australian also that I am talking about. He's not finished growing. Okay, Mercury could. I doubt it, Mercury, but we're going to find out when I bring the product to the lab and get tested with the money that you super chatted me last week. Skype is on, Michael. Thank you, Warren. I have 60 seconds to make that phone call. No, they're not food grade plastic, the plastic plumbing here. You can taste the plastic plumbing. Well, I lived in an apartment building for 3.5 years, and I tasted the plastic every day. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to give you a close up of this. No, I'm not going to do that. So let me give you the name one more time. You can go to my homepage and put belly button horror or fluoride induced belly button horror, or you could go to my homepage and put belly horror, or you could go to my homepage and say, whose belly button is this? I got to tell you, if I put that picture up, this video will be removed with today's algorithms. It looks like something you'd see in a fantastic CGI graphics of a crater that poisoned with some sort of white powder. It's terrible. Whose belly button is this? Ampersand, the horrors of fluoride poisoning. Thanks for watching, everybody. Gotta go. Gonna go make a phone call. Have a nice day. Warren, I will be calling you in about a half an hour maximum. Okay, everybody, thanks for stopping by. And Philippine Scenes, if you're still there, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much, Philippine Scenes. I apologize. I forgot. All right. Okay, bye-bye. I'm Ping Permi.